It's April 2nd. And the past 30 days, I made about $250,000. My business has made about $250,000. And I've realized one thing about success. And it's the biggest blessing, but it's what most people greatly misunderstand. And I'm sitting here and I'm journaling. I'm about to go to sleep. I should have been in bed like an hour ago. But I'm looking up at this penthouse. It's one of the nicest penthouses in Miami. And I was sitting there and I caught myself doing something that I used to do when I was broke. I used to think of the glamorized version of work that I thought would exist when I reached the materialistic goal that I wanted. I bought a Ferrari last month at 20 years old, Ferrari SF90, Assetto Fiorano, $500,000, whatever, right? And I used to think, right, even before when I bought my Lamborghini, I used to think and have this glamorized version of what I thought the work would feel like when I had the life that I wanted. And it just happened to me. I just caught myself. And so I sat and I instantly started recording this video because I was thinking about myself up in that penthouse. $60,000 a month. There's people who are like, that's the stupidest thing ever. You're just broke, right? But I'm sitting here because my goals are so high. To me, that should be the standard. I should be able to have a house in Atlanta near my family, a penthouse here, a house on the beach, fly private everywhere I go. Fuck it, I should be able to own a private jet, right? All these things, these are the baseline that I want to accomplish with my life. But I was sitting here and I'm thinking about myself wearing this like white collared shirt in this massive open living room that's in that penthouse up there, like on the phone. And I felt myself dreaming or almost creating the work that I was doing into this like fuzzy, warm feeling of just like ease, right? I was like turning stress into this like amazing feeling. And I caught myself because I know better, because I've been through that before. I used to do this when I was in my 2006 Acura that I bought when I was 17 years old, right? When I was driving DoorDash, when I was working as a server, and I was working as a junk hauler, running all these business, working for all these companies, trying to grow my business. And I used to dream about what life would feel like and what the work would feel like when I was in my dream car. And it was this weird complexity of like, oh, the work's not gonna be hard anymore. Traffic isn't gonna suck anymore. There's almost gonna be no problems anymore. And it reminded me, I was on a client call with one of my clients. He has a fitness coaching offer where he helps high level professional men get in shape. Kid's like 22, makes $300,000 a year as a real estate agent, and he also has his fitness coaching business that he runs. Absolute killer. But we were on a one-on-one call, and I was talking to him. I'm like, yeah, bro. I'm like, you don't understand, because he was glamorizing my lifestyle. I'm like, you don't understand what it's like to have like 8 back-to-back one-on-one calls, talking to your team in between, like having to make story posts, YouTube videos to put out, like all these things that you have to do. And he was like, yeah, but like, bro, it's so fun because, at the end of the day, like none of that would matter if, I get to get in my Lamborghini and go to the gym. And I thought about it, and it just hit me right now as I had the exact same thought process, glamorizing the work once I got that penthouse. And I realized that even at the top of the mountain, it feels the same. Even in the highest penthouse, the most expensive, luxurious penthouse, it feels the same. What defines you now will also define you when you reach the goals that you want to achieve. So you have to face the work that you're avoiding now, right? There are things right now at every stage of business. There are things that you can do better, more efficiently, more often, and to a higher quality at every single stage, right? I'm at $200,000 a month, and there's things I should be doing better, more efficiently, more effectively, that'll get me to $500,000 a month that I'm either putting off, avoiding, not good enough to do yet, or my brain isn't willing to do the reps to get me there. And I found myself in this moment fantasizing that those things would all of a sudden be easy once I was in the penthouse. But I know better than that because I've gone through this cycle many times. I thought the work that I'm doing now was gonna be easy all of a sudden when I had a Lambo or when I had a Ferrari, and I'm here to tell you, it does not change. This is the biggest realization that the largest, most successful entrepreneurs in the entire game have, is that whatever defines you now will also define you in the future, regardless of what materialistic things you have to cover it up with. If you can't face the work, if you can't face the fear now, you're not gonna all of a sudden be able to face it once you get the reward. As humans, especially as entrepreneurs in the beginning, I remember when I was making, $20,000 to $30,000 a month, and like I thought I was big stuff. I thought I was doing something. Now I look back and realize I was literally an idiot. And anyone with a brain can make $30,000 a month, no problem. Especially in the online economy we have now. Especially as a coach, if you have the right information. But I always thought that if I got the reward, then I'd be more willing to put in the effort. But the thing is, in the constraint to success that keeps most people to never reach their full potential, is that you have to fall in love with the effort in order to receive the reward. Because it's a character development. You have to become that type of person. When I wanted the Ferrari the most, I wasn't worthy of having it. I wasn't worthy of having it, right? And like, I could have a penthouse, I could have a much nicer spot, but my goal is having like the standard of what I want. I'm not there yet. I want to have a 5-bedroom, 3-story, $10 million penthouse, right? Same reason I haven't bought a house. I don't want $1 million house. I want a $5 million house with a 4-car garage, a big ass driveway, a pool, a yard that I can walk around in. So there's no point in me settling and going about. It's like the guys that like buy their dream car and it's a Corvette, and then they're like, I'm good, I'm satiated, right? I don't think that way. I set unrealistic goals for myself because I make that my realistic future. And so what I want you to understand, why I sat down right here instead of going to bed, is because if there was one thing I could tell myself when I was making $20,000 or $30,000 a month, it's that what defines you now will define you once you get there. There's no way to cover it up, right? It's like that cliche quote that everyone says on the internet now. It's like, the magic you're looking for is in the work that you're avoiding. The life that you desire is in the effort that you aren't willing to put in. It's that simple. We overcomplicate success so many times because our brain wants to make us think that if the idea came from in here, it's not gonna work. We think that someone else has to have the idea and give it to us. A lot of times we make ourselves much less important than we are. And it takes someone else pushing us over the edge. But what I want you to understand is that the work, testing the ideas that you have, facing the fear, learning from the failure, is what you need to do. And I think the biggest plague in this online economy right now is the guys who make $30,000 a month, and because that seems like a lot of money, they think that there's nothing else for them to learn. They think they've faced all the fear, they've conquered the failure. It gets harder for you to accept failure and harder for you to face fear the more money you make. Why? Because now you're gambling with a bigger stake. When you first started, when you first went all in on your business, what did you have to lose? Oh, you had to face the fear of people talking shit about you. We're past that, bro. We're past that. Now, you have a reputation to lose that you didn't have before. Now, you have a brand to lose. Now you have money to lose. You have momentum to lose. Now is when it actually matters. Now is when you actually must understand and make calculated risk moves. Instead of just going out, before it was just test, whatever worked, double down, right? We need to do more of what's already working. 70% of more of what's working, 20% better of what's working, and then 10% the new idea. But a lot of times I see guys, I'll have guys coming to my program doing $20,000 or $30,000 a month, and they're continually keeping the mindset that they had that got them to the 20 to 30K, and it's just like, new thing. They're doing 70% new instead of 70% more of what's already working. What has the highest likelihood of doing well? The thing that's already worked. And then how can you spend all of your time operationalizing it, making it better, more efficient, faster, and having a better result, right? So me sitting here right now, dreaming about being in that penthouse, in having this delusion that all of a sudden the work's gonna be easier, the calls are gonna be easier, the hour-and-a-half long one-on-one client sessions where I'm diving deep on the messaging of their product, crafting their offer from their story, from their skill sets, and helping them hone in on what they have the most authority to speak on. Helping them increase their engagement, increase their reach, understand the psychology behind the person that they're talking to in their stories, understand how to create better education that speaks deeper to the pain points in their YouTube. Those things aren't gonna get easier just because I'm in some penthouse, or just because I get to fly private all of a sudden, because those are the next stages. That's what's coming next. I already made $200K a month. I live in a big ass apartment. I have a Lamborghini, a TRX, a Ferrari, right? I get to go back and forth home between Atlanta. I can virtually buy anything that I want. But I still have that fallacy, and it'll come at every single level. When I'm at $100 million, I'll have a time where I'm like, when I'm a billionaire, I'll be able to, just easily do X, Y, Z. And it's like, no. The work becomes more difficult. You become more skilled, absolutely. But the moves become higher risk. The fear becomes so much greater of a magnitude because now you are betting on much higher stakes. And so I want you guys to avoid this delusion of thinking that once you buy the supercar, the work all of a sudden is gonna be easy. You need to become the man that you want to define you when you have the supercar, when you have the penthouse, when you have the status, when you have the money, when you have the security. Whatever things you want to define you then, you have to conquer those things now, or else you'll never become that man. Because the outcome, the life, comes on the backside of you becoming the definitive first. I had a $100,000 a month mindset when I was making 20K a month. That's why I got there so quickly, right? I was living like the guy who drove a Ferrari even before I ever bought my first supercar. I was making decisions like the entrepreneur version of me making multiple six figures a month living in Miami before I'd even moved out of my parents' house, because I wanted to have traits that would define me then start to define my life now. And as I'm catching myself, I'm being the most authentic version and showing you guys like this is how I live my life. Everyone wants to make it seem like, once you make a little bit of money online, there's no mistakes, there's no, continuing to chisel yourself into the best version. Like, I'm in real time showing you how I coach myself through these situations to continue heading towards my goals. It's very easy for me even to get caught up. Like every level you go up, there's always another dream life. There's always another, there's always more things that you want. There's always this new collection of like, oh, well, once I do X, Y, and Z, life's gonna be so easy. And I'm here to tell you that feeling never goes away. And the faster you can learn that lesson, the more rapidly you'll be able to make progress. You have to understand that you need to build the traits now of the man you want to become, or else the man you want to become will never be built into you. It's the most simplest concept ever, but half the time we never keep it top of mind. And this is the exercise that I'm using right now, is the lessons that I know this to be true, yet I'll still find myself falling into these misconceptions. And if I don't use that thought process to fight what, is trying to take over my mind and actually take my mind captive, I'll fall into this delusion, which sometimes delusions are good. You should have delusional goals, but never fall into the delusion that the work is easier or the work is going to go away once you have a certain thing. Because most of the time the work is harder. So I want to create this dream fantasy of that no matter what I have, I get obsessed with the difficulty that of the work. I get obsessed with the amount of fear I can face with a smile. I want to be obsessed with the amount of burden I can carry on my back without letting my emotions show. I want to be obsessed with the amount of stress that I can carry without altering my routine, without falling short of the goals that I set for myself. Those are the traits that I'm chasing, and that's why I'll be in a penthouse like this in 6 months. You guys watch, you've seen me. I used to talk delusion, I'm gonna have a Lambo, I'm gonna have the best coaching business ever, I'm gonna have a low following and literally be changing the coaching industry. And people used to talk in the comments, you're delusional, oh, you don't have a good physique and also make money. Not happening, right? They've continued to doubt me and I've continued to over deliver. Why? Because I understand that mentally I always become the man I'm chasing first, and his life follows in abundance. I don't move fast. You guys just hold a slow standard on yourself. There's people watching this video who are making more money than me when I started my YouTube channel, who I've now lapped multiple times. Number one, because of the information, but number two, because of the way I apply it to my life, the way I attack fear, and the fact that I'm able to constantly keep these thought processes top of mind. The top entrepreneurs in the world are obsessed with the way that they make decisions. And the biggest problem is, number one, the information that you do know, you're not constantly reminding yourself in the moment when you're facing the mental battle. And number two, you're not using those thought processes to make the right decisions constantly, over and over and over again. And if you don't learn to have the same systems that you would have in your business within your mind, you're never gonna become a top 1% entrepreneur. Hate to break it to you, making 50K a month isn't being a top 1% entrepreneur, bro. Yeah, like the statistics might say that, but I don't even categorize myself with the statistics. The statistics for me only encompass the top 1%. The top 1% to me is the 100%. I gotta be in the top 1% of the 1%. You know, I'm the only 20-year-old in the world with a Ferrari, a Lamborghini that I own, who also squats 500 pounds, who's also 200 pounds lean. Like, there's none. There's none. Any of the guys that make this much money, they're skinny fat, they're not disciplined, they don't go to the gym. And any of the guys who have, there's plenty of 20-year-olds who have a better physique than me, right? They have a better physique than me, but they don't make any money. I truly believe I'm the only 20-year-old in the world who has those things, squats 500 pounds, has a $500,000 Ferrari. Like there's none. There's none. Because people max out in one area and then they stay comfortable in their lane instead of pushing themselves throughout every single area. And the one thing I can attribute this to is my mindset. Always from the beginning, everyone's like, oh, mindset, that's a fluke. No, it's not. Mindset is the precursor to everything. Now I have the best systems in the game to apply that mindset to. So what does it matter if you have a great mindset if you can't apply it to the right systems? But when you combine these things together, you have the right systems, you understand how to make the right decisions, you have amazing data to test and then apply from, and you have a mindset that never falters, and you're able to constantly remind yourself the lessons that you've learned in the past, learn from others' mistakes, and help that make you accelerate faster than everyone else. You become unstoppable. I want you guys to apply this to your entrepreneurial journey. I want you guys to be able to take the lessons that you learn, apply it to your life, and make specific strategic moves while understanding that who you become now is the precursor to the life that you want to live. And the life that you want to live will never become your reality until you realize you must become that man and you must wield those traits first. You have to be able to tame the mind of the man who you want to become before that life becomes yours. But I promise, if you do those things, you can become someone who's like not even of this world. God has given you so much potential. God has put so much complex thought into your brain. So many inner working mechanisms that happen inside of your body. Yet you refuse to actually tap in to your full potential because you want to let the world around you limit what you can actually do. And those of you who have made money, $20, $30, $50,000 a month, you now, because of the rest of the world, has made you think you've accomplished something. You're gonna halt the success you could continue to make just because you won't continue to take the lessons you've learned and keep applying them to your life. It's a quick one tonight. I love you boys. I've got so many more vlogs. Got a Puerto Rico vlog coming out for you guys soon. I hope you enjoyed the Ferrari video. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. I'll walk you guys step by step through how I got the Ferrari, all the decisions that I made, how I went from making minimum wage to buying the $500,000 Ferrari. And if you want to scale your business beyond $40, $50, even $100,000 a month, I have the best system to do so, where you actually get to work one-on-one with me with specific systems that are not just plug and play. They're specific to your business, your offer, your story, and the skill sets that you have through the content, through the sales process, and through your ability to sell high-ticket programs. If you're interested, click the link in the description or shoot me a DM on Instagram. I love you boys. See you next time.